This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Skating Penguin Network. It is Robbie here on the evening of Thursday, February 26th, and we are getting ready to close out the second month of the year. But as we close out February, we are beginning the last third of the Pittsburgh Penguins season. It has been 3 weeks to the day since the Pittsburgh Penguins have played a hockey game. We obviously have the Olympics to thank for that. But a 21-day off period for about 90% of the team outside of the 4 players who went to Milan for the Olympics. But obviously when you're off that long, you worry about rust and how long does it take to get going? What does everybody look like? But for the Penguins, it wasn't always pretty, but the rust came off in the third period. And we will talk about that more in detail here in a bit. But first, as always, on the other end of the line, it is Snail out in Seattle. And Snail, I mean, obviously, we weren't without hockey for 3 weeks, but it sure is nice to have the Pittsburgh Penguins back to watch, and even more enjoyable, given that we are watching a march to the playoffs.
Yeah, dude, you said it there, man. It's nice to have Pittsburgh Penguins hockey back. All is right in the world again. I'm kind of getting to an age, Robbie, much like you probably are, where when my routines get thrown off, I just like it less and less. The older I get, the more grumpy I am. I get irritated when it's a national broadcast and I can't listen to the usual cast of characters announcing the game. Going 3 weeks without Penguins hockey, the Olympics was pretty entertaining, I'll say.
Yeah.
But just remembering today while I was at work going, oh my God, 4:00, I got to get home for this game. They're playing the Devils. Say what you will. They could have been playing the Vancouver Canucks, 2026 Vancouver Canucks. And I'd be like, let's go. Penguins hockey is back. So I was stoked for that. I was curious to see how this game would go because I don't know if you watched any games last night. Last night was the first night that NHL hockey was back. Some very sloppy and kind of brutal games to get through. And you could see it today with the Penguins for sure, but we'll get to that. So I'm thrilled to have it back. I'm also thrilled, like you said, that it's not a matter so much of let's see where they're at around the trade deadline. I mean, we are kind of saying that, you know what I mean, though. Yeah, like you said, it's a march to the playoffs. They are in the second. They are second in the Metropolitan right now. Coming into the season, we did not see that coming at all. I think the Penguins were the only team actively not trying to get better in the offseason. And it's not going to be necessarily easy by any means, like we talked about on the last podcast. It's a bit of a what do they call that? The strength of schedule is probably one of the hardest. They probably have one of the hardest schedules coming down the stretch here. But I think this Danube system, this team, the youth, the vets, everyone kind of chipping in, and we'll get to it soon. But you look at the goal scorers tonight. I don't think it's a fluke. Some people are saying that Brian Hayes up in Toronto says that the Penguins are going to be an 18-wheeler or whatever they call it, coming off a cliff. That's what he thinks it is with Sid. And they said they went on to say something along the lines of Sid's the only guy going on this team. And it just reflects how little they watch this team and kind of talking out of their rear end, because as we know this year, it's been just a cast of characters chipping in offensively, and the decor is much improved as previous years. And we have goaltending. So I don't know. We won't get into the rage bait of Toronto media, but that's where other people's heads are at. In our heads, Robbie, this is it's a march to the playoffs, man. And it's going to come quick. Like you said, when you said it's a third of the season gone right now, or no, they have a third of the season left. This is kind of it, roughly. crazy. I feel like we just started recording again. Like it feels like October was a month and a half ago, and we're talking about trade deadline in roughly 10 days. And it's going to be interesting to see, man. But curious to know what your thoughts are on the game, because it was kind of a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was not. Again, they played the Penguins started off like a team, like a lot of the teams we saw on Wednesday night, a team that had not played in 3 weeks. And the Devils, to their credit, yeah, they were on a back-to-back, but they looked like a team that had a night to blow off some of the rust, at least early on. And the Penguins did get the first goal in this game. So it was a nice start. It was Tommy Novak on a nice redirection on a power play. Letang and Malkin got the assist on this one. Beautiful little redirect by Novak in front after some good puck movement. And that first period, like Jersey had, I think the Penguins had the edge in shots, but Jersey probably had a little bit better the play. But hey, Arthur Shilov's coming back from the Olympics had a little extra time off, but he looked pretty good. I was kind of surprised they went Shilovs in this game. I really thought they were going to go Skinner. But hey, coming into the break, Shilovs was the better goaltender. He was playing better hockey, and he got rewarded with the start out of the break here and played a really good hockey game. The Devils did tie it in the second period. Paul Cotter knotted it up, and that's how kind of the game was going at this point. Like the Devils were getting their chances, and they were carrying play. But in the second period, the Penguins took way too many penalties in the second period. They took 4 in they took 3 in the first 10 minutes, and then they took another one. But credit power play stepped up. Power play was really good in this game, and so was Shilovs. He faced 12 shots in the second period, stopped 11 of them, and really kept the Penguins in this game at 1-1. And then in the third period is when the rust was finally blown off the Penguins, and they just completely dominated that final period of hockey. Edge in shots, edge in play, just straight up took it to the Devils, which in this situation, a good team should be doing this to a bad team at this point in the season. And the Penguins did exactly that. Connor Clifton on one of the weirder goals you'll see in the NHL. Ryan Shea clanged one off the pipe, and it literally just comes right to Connor Clifton, who just doesn't hesitate, just winds up and hits the crossbar himself. But this time it goes in. That makes it 2-1, and the Penguins just flatten them from there. 50 seconds later, Evgeny Malkin, the Malkin-Chinnikov connection is just unstoppable at this point. He hits a nice stretch pass to Chinnikov, who goes in alone. Doesn't need the fancy shot this time, just gets it through Markstrom. And then our fourth line hero, Blake Lizotte, rewarded for another great game. An empty netter, and it will go down as a shorthanded goal as well. So not only did the penalty kill go 4-for-4 tonight, they also got rewarded with a shorthanded goal, even if it was an empty netter. But I mean, the third period was just, that is the Penguins team that we have seen so many times this year. And yeah, we'll call it rust for the first 40 minutes. That final 20 is exactly, they keep playing like that. No matter whether it's Crosby or whoever they're playing against, they're going to win a lot of hockey games.
Oh yeah. They've got a great, they've got each line, as I stumble over my words here, I don't want to say they roll 4 lines, because that's not necessarily what they do. I guess what I should say is each line has a role and they stick to it. And they've got a good system going right now. Like when the fourth line's out there, I'm never nervous. It's not like years past where it's like that fourth line of Achari, Lizotte, and Connor McDewar. Those guys, dude, how many offensive chances did they get on the penalty kill tonight? How many times, like, it's felt like they had 4 shots on goal at one point. It's incredible to see. And then, that third line, that second line, Sid's out. We know that they do have a great first line, but that second and third line are basically, you could swap those guys, you could swap those lines for each other and you wouldn't really notice. I like that. Dan Muse, I don't know what it is about it, Robbie, but do you feel like he's kind of more of an instinctual coach as opposed to, Sullivan, who kind of had roles for his guys and he stuck to them, whether they were flailing out there or not? It feels like tonight he was throwing out guys, kind of jumbling lines at times. And he feels like a guy that goes off kind of vibes and instincts. And it seems to kind of just work.
I'll agree with that, and I'll also add the caveat. I think that's a new coach thing. Like
vibes.
There's no pressure. Look what he's done to this point. Like, nobody expected anything this year, and I think when you're trying to learn your players, even that you're this far into your first season, you kind of just roll with what's working. I think Sullivan had a bit of that too.
Early on, right?
Early on, yeah. Like HBK was completely built out of that, and like, you always have now. Like Muse is pretty solid with when Crosby's healthy. Muse, Raquel, and Russ, like that is a pretty solid line that he rolls out there. And Sullivan was kind of the same way. That was always, especially with Russ, like him and Russ were pinned together for years, and Gensel would have been where Raquel is. So that is that. Yeah, I think, but like if you look past that first line, like the Chinnikov, Novak, Malkin line kind of was built out of Igor Chinnikov coming to the Penguins. Like that kind of came out of nowhere. Really, the only other Penguins like set in stone line, even maybe more so than the first line, especially now that Crosby's out, is that fourth line. That is just kind of like, you might as well just pencil them in every night if they're healthy. Like you just go write them in. Noel Achari, Connor Dewar, Blake Lizotte. And then the third line, Ben Kindle, is kind of just rotating wingers on his line. Whether it's you have McGroarty when he's here, you have, I don't even know who it was tonight necessarily, but you just have guys out there just kind of swapping around, and like it go and he kind of does keep it together for as long as it's working. But if it stops working, he's very, very instinctual of changing it up, and he presses the right buttons more often than not. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens without Crosby, because as we said, like before we started recording, the Raquel center experiment worked tonight, but like I don't think that's a long-term solution. Right. So and at one point, Kindle did jump up to that first line to center a little bit. So I think that it's going to be very kind of on the fly kind of line juggling from Muse, and it's worked well for him this season. Again, he's still learning. I think that the more you coach, like the more you do become set in a way which can be good and bad. I think that's eventually why coaches fizzle out and then go somewhere else and do find success, and maybe they don't find success. But yeah, Muse has just kind of hit the right buttons this year so far, and here's to hoping that continues for these next few weeks and really through the end of the season, because you're going to have to do some line shuffling without Crosby. But you kind of just find what works. And I mean, the Chinnikov-Malkin connection really just kind of came out of Dan Muse putting them together, and Novak makes the perfect.
Is that a connection?
Yeah, and Tommy Novak makes the perfect third of that group. So yeah, I credit to Muse for that. You don't see it quite as, again, you don't have as much flexibility with the D pairs, but when you can do that with your four lines and mix them up and still get results, that's massive. That's credit to Muse and the players.
100%. Yeah, I mean, you don't have any passengers on this team. It feels like there's no one out there unhappy with their role. At least it would seem. There's no one out there.
Your role can change from like shift to shift.
Yeah, you go out there and put out a good effort and you're contributing. Muse isn't going to, keep you where you're at. He's going to bump you up, and it's refreshing to see. It's really refreshing to see. So, it was an interesting sort of first 40 minutes, and it felt like the first game kind of coming off of a break there. But yeah, that third period was eerily, familiar of the Buffalo game. That was the last game before, 3 weeks ago, basically. And sort of the Penguins brand of hockey most of this season, it took them 40 minutes, but they picked up where they sort of left off. It feels like right before the Olympic break.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Avery Hayes looked really good. He didn't score 2 goals. He wasn't going to score at a 2-goal per game pace the whole season, but he had his chances, and he absolutely plastered the Devils captain Nico Hischier against the boards in just a great clean hit. He had a pretty lethal shot on net there. I thought, there was a good chance that could have gone in. Him on that first line, I like it, man. He's such a buzzsaw out there. Were you keeping an eye on Avery Hayes there?
Yeah, Hayes is very interesting because, obviously he's not going to score 2 goals every night out like that. And I mean, nobody's doing that. But he's going to be one of those guys where if he's not scoring, he's still going to find a way to make some kind of impact on the game, and in a way that the other team is probably going to loathe playing against him. He just seems the guy that is, again, not a huge guy by any means, obviously, but just a guy that is out there and just looks like he's making your life miserable every time he's on the ice. Just, very, very, a very gritty player. I mean, he's only 5'10", 180, not big at all. And he just goes out there and he makes it very annoying to play against. And you need a guy like that. He makes, at some point he might turn into the perfect third line guy with Ben Kindle once you get a little more consistent line pairings as we go along here. But just a very deeply annoying person to play against, a water bug type player. He's kind of everywhere. And you love watching it. You love having guys like that. One that not only that he can do that, but he absolutely relishes this opportunity and is giving his all every time he steps on the ice. It's a perfect player for this team. And again, he scored those 2 goals in that game before the break. And you obviously knew he was going back down. It was not a demotion for any fault of his. It just made the most sense to let him keep playing. And he just go down there and just absolutely torches the American Hockey League. 2 hat tricks in less than 3 weeks. That's insane.
He went down there and basically said, "I don't belong here."
Yeah, basically that's
the most polite way possible.
Yeah, now I cannot imagine the confidence he went back down with after scoring 2 goals in that game. It had to be just such a boost. And he basically, like you said, he came down there and was saying, "I'm too good to play here." That's the only reason I'm here is because the Penguins aren't playing. The only reason I'm here is because of logistics. That's the only reason I'm. And that's kind of the same attitude I think that you get from Sergei Murashov in a quieter way. He's down there. The way things are right now, I have to be here, and I'm too good to be here, and I'm going to prove that I'm too good to be here. But Hayes just again, they had him mic'd up for that game against the Sabres, and he pretty much said in the locker room, "If I get a chance, I'm going to score a goal." And
I love that.
It's perfect. It is the perfect attitude. It's the right amount of arrogance and confidence boiled into one 5'10" human being. And it's fantastic to watch. He was good again tonight, despite not scoring. I just do not see him going anywhere else because he's the kind of guy that helps you win games this time of year, even if he's not in the box score.
Imagine him in the playoff.
Yeah,
that guy seems like a guy, a guy that you're gonna, you might have to say to chill a little bit as opposed to have to give him a kick in the rear end to get going. He seems like the kind of guy that might, he might be bouncing off the walls type of guy. I love this game. It's been a while since the Penguins have had a player, really like him. And with his youth and just where he's at, he's the kind of guy that coming down the stretch here, there's going to be a lot of games. There's going to be some sleepy nights, not for a lack of effort, just from the schedule. You're playing 4 games a week, basically, and for for 30 days. And he's the kind of guy that seems, if you got some tired veterans, he might be a guy that sets an example and goes and kind of sets the tone out there. And guys might be like, God, that guy's out there giving her. We got to get going here. That's what the Penguins have needed for a while. Sid's always really done a good job of setting the tone. He's 38, man. He's going to be coming off of what I'm guessing is an MCL or an ACL sprain of some sort. Avery Hayes is a perfect ingredient. He's a Salt Bay. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
He's that that salt, that perfect seasoning right now on a team that's poised to make some noise down the stretch here, man.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of fits the entire vibe of this team right now, and I'm really, really excited to watch him continue to get opportunities because he seems to relish everyone and take advantage of everyone. And it's fantastic. And he's been a huge breath of fresh air. Sometimes a good team needs like a little shot in the arm, and Avery Hayes is exactly that. Like, remember they came into that Buffalo game kind of in a little bit of a rut. They wanted to go in on a high note into the break, and he comes up, scores 2 goals, they win, and now that momentum has kind of carried forward here into the post-break schedule. So, just got to keep that rolling. They're not going to have much time off. Like, you're not going to have very little time to breathe these next 5 or 6 weeks here. You have back-to-backs this weekend. I'm just glancing the schedule quick. They don't have consecutive days off until March 19th and 20th after they get off a long road trip. But looking at the schedule going forward, this was a big game. This is a team that if the Penguins are serious about being in the playoffs, being a contender, is a game you have to win. It wasn't easy at first. It clearly looked like a team that didn't play for 3 weeks, but credit Artur Shilov's kept them in this game in the second period. Big time saves from the goaltender. And then the Penguins finally kind of look like the Penguins that we expected in the third, take over and pull away in the end. But I mean, overall, it's just a good win to come out of the break. Feels good. The crowd was into it.
Yeah, big time.
They honored Sidney Crosby before the game, and he looked like he hated every second of it. Jack Johnson was there. It was
Jack
just
Johnson
like
was there.
Yeah, he was up in the booth with Crosby the one time they panned up there.
Who he was up there with?
Yeah.
Old Spaddock St. Mary pal.
He's still allowed in the building because the Penguins are still paying him for at least like another year or something like that.
Yeah, he probably still has a parking space.
Yeah, he probably still has a parking space and a key card. Probably got an email. Got that company email still rolling too.
Probably. Did he officially retire?
Yeah, I think he officially retired last season. Last season, I think. But he's still collecting a check from the Penguins, so I guess he still gets access to the building. But no, I mean, a great way to come back. Like, again, the building was energized, the players were energized. You kind of like it just when I was looking through the lines earlier this week, I think I said it in the last time we recorded. Like, I had to try to remember some of these guys. Like, remember, oh yeah, the Penguins do have these guys. I was so used to watching the Olympics that I kind of forgot some of these guys existed. But
dude, I already forgot that we got Girard. When I was like,
oh yeah, I guess
out there.
Yeah, we should touch on that because what a insane trade for the Penguins here. This was on Tuesday. The Penguins announced they acquired defenseman Sam Girard from the
Avalanche.
From the Avalanche for Brett Kulak, and the Penguins got a second-round pick back from the Avalanche. So
I thought that was a joke at first, like a trolling.
So yeah, I mean, in the full trade as it plays out now, they traded Tristan Jarry to the Edmonton Oilers for Stuart Skinner, 2 second-round picks, and now Sam Girard is a part of this trade tree now as well. And Girard is a former Stanley Cup champion. He's played, I looked it up the other day, he's played like literally almost his entire career in Colorado. He had like a short stint with the Nashville Predators early in his career.
Drafted him.
Yeah, I think that's where, and then he got traded to Colorado. won a cup there. He's a great puck mover.
He's only 27.
Yeah, he is under contract for another year after this, I believe. At a very reasonable $5 million, especially with the Penguins cap situation. Somebody pointed out tonight he loves to have the puck on his stick. He loves to move the puck.
Oh, he's a puck mover, man.
That's the kind of guy the Penguins needed on that back end. And I was kind of surprised this trade came now. But again, it sounds like this was something that's been discussed for a couple weeks with the Avalanche. So Sam Girard does come to the Penguins, gets his debut tonight. Overall, looks pretty good. Is a guy that has plenty of experience. Again, cup champion with the Avalanche. He's been a regular in that lineup. He's a guy that's been there, done that. Adds some good playmaking to that back end, and is still under contract and, like you said, only 27 years old. So a lot of hockey left under for Sam Girard, and he's going to do the next part of it here in Pittsburgh. And quite a trade, one that I did not see coming, but one that early returns and the overall feeling of the trade was very positive for the Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good trade considering, Kulak, I liked him as a player. I wasn't thinking of this moving on from a guy like that, but I think when a trade comes across your table, I think Colorado, they like big, defensemen on their back end there. They kind of have a common theme there. Makar's not small by any means, and Taves might be the smallest defenseman. Well, Sam Girard was their smallest defenseman, but then you've got Josh Manson, Brent Burns, and who's their other guy back there? Well, they got Kulak now. So, Malinsky, Sam Malinsky, a smaller right shot D. Kulak just kind of fits, I think, probably what they're looking to build back there. Puck mover, steady Eddie type guy. Puck mover on one side, steady Eddie, bigger defenseman on the other. And, Sam Girard, I don't think that was a guy they were looking to get rid of by any means either, but I think they're trying to make their team better and go on a run this year. So they saw a guy in Kulak, and I think the Penguins, like you think about the last couple of puck movers they've had in the last couple of years on the back end there, like I think of like Grzelcyk. Sam Girard is a massive upgrade on a guy like Grzelcyk. I mean, Grzelcyk liked to have the puck on his stick too, but not the fleetest of foot, not the soundest defensively whatsoever. It didn't really, Sam Grzelcyk was what he was. I mean, he went to Chicago on a PTO. Sam Girard is a much more established defenseman, and I think him being, I always look at this stuff. I don't know how much actual merit there is to this, when you're looking at rosters, but I'm thinking he slots in with Letang, two French Canadian guys. It's kind of how I've always felt about Malkin. I always was like, get Malkin a Russian, like a Russian guy to play with. I don't know. We'll see how it pans out, but I like Sam Girard on your second pair, man. Like going forward, he's a far more responsible puck mover, kind of like a better Ole Mata maybe.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison, I think. And again, the Penguins won 2 Stanley Cups with Ole Mata. Like, I mean, there are worse defensemen. There are worse defensemen in the NHL, but no, he does move the puck very well. It kind of takes some of the size away, but like I think for what the Penguins want to do, I think he definitely helps them with the transition game, which is Kulak was fine. Like he was a fine defenseman.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing bad to really say. Like he was just fine. And I think again, Colorado probably for what they're probably, again, the Avalanche probably a tier better than the Penguins in terms of like if you're picking Stanley Cup contenders. Probably does a little bit more for them to get closer to that. And if you want to take those kind of chances, you sometimes have to give up pieces maybe you didn't want to, and they're willing to move on from Sam Girard for that. But hey, Girard
second.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what, again, because there was no, like the Penguins took on the longer salary in the deal. Like
there was no, that maybe another team was looking at had a deal and they said, hey, throw in a second, he's yours because these guys got a package for him too.
Very possible, because again, when the trade was made with the Oilers for the Skinner Jari trade, like the idea was at some point they're probably going to move from Brett Kulak. Like that was a potential trade
Yeah,
piece.
there was always like, depending on how the things went down the road, they'll flip it.
Yeah, and it very, very well could have been like any random team could have said, "Hey, we want Brett Kulak, and here's what we'll give you." Maybe that pick was a 4th-round pick and a player, whereas it came Sam Girard and a 2nd-round pick. Dubas, we know, loves his draft picks. Again, it's a pick in a couple years, so it could very well get moved here in the next few seasons before the Penguins ever make that pick. But it's another asset to potentially trade at some point or to continue to build out the system. I mean, if it's a 2nd-round Colorado pick, all likelihood it's going to be a late 2nd-round pick. But again, the way the Dubas is willing to move assets to get assets, I overall, a very interesting trade, but it very well could have been like, hey, here's what Team X is offering. Can you guys do a 2nd-round pick instead of, let's say, their 4th-round pick? And Colorado says Colorado's literally a all-in team. Like they are,
and they will be for a couple years.
Yeah, like Colorado is an all-in team. That 2nd-round pick, if things go according to their plan, is going to be a very minuscule price to pay for potentially winning a Stanley Cup. So yeah, they're fine with that, and Dubas is more than happy to, one, get a player that currently in right now helps the team, and 2, helps them in the future as well with another asset that can be moved or used however they see fit. But I think this just reinforces right now the idea that, again, the only people that really had a problem with Kyle Dubas, I think, were the people in Toronto. When he was
that's the reason why they pay so much attention to the Penguins and the New Jersey Devils right now, because Keefe is there.
Yeah, and right now, like, Kyle Dubas, to me, again, I'll be a little biased here, is the leader for this season, being the general manager of the year. I just think that
he gotta be, man.
Like, he helped build, like, the moves this summer, like starting in the summer with guys like Mantha and Wotherspoon. Like, those moves have paid off in immeasurable ways already.
Brazo.
And then you factor in Brazo, and then you factor in the move of Jari for Skinner, and then the subsequent move to get
he turned Jari into 2 seconds. Sam Girard and Jeff Skinner. Not Jeff Skinner. What's his name?
Stuart Skinner. Were you going to say Jordan Bennington?
No.
I
don't know where Jordan. No, there was a guy in my high school named Jordan Skinner.
Oh,
that's so just coming from deep in my brain. But
you just pulled that one out of the old memory bank.
That one just came out of the memory bank. Yeah, sorry. I know he's not listening, but yeah, Jordan Skinner I went to high school with him. And then Jeff Skinner is the guy who was on the San Jose Sharks and that. Yeah. So anyways, and then they turned him into Skinner. They turned Jari into Skinner. Girard in 2 seconds. Like, if you told me that at the beginning of the year, I'd be like, who was smoking crack that did that trade?
And then Igor Chinnikov, another guy in this conversation who's just been an absolute freak show since.
Welcome back, coming. James Neal.
Yeah, the trade or the signing of Connor Dewar this offseason, getting that and him
and Lizotte. Lizotte.
Well, Lizotte was here, but they still got him re-up for another 3 years. Not moving on Brian Rust and Rickard Rakell when he very easily could have. Another big move there.
Kindle at 11.
I mean, the Kindle thing alone is out of control. But then guys like getting Ryan Shea re-signed, getting Connor Clifton, trading for Shelovs, like both goalies they are currently running with right now one was traded for in the summer and one was traded for in December. Like, they're both acquired via trade, and they both have them in playoff position right now. So Kyle Dubas has been just out of this world this year. Just you can't miss. Like, he's been so good, and I'm just very excited to see how these next 8 days play out, because I don't feel like Sam Girard is the final move.
There's no way. I think he's got something up his sleeve, but I wanted to quickly touch on, the Dubas sort of the bad rap he gets. And a lot of people, I think in Toronto, they look at him signing Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, basically giving them all what they want, like carte blanche, like just blank check, like keep them. He signed those contracts, though. This was before COVID like the salary cap before COVID was supposed to keep rising. Like a lot of people kind of forget that he was using projections. Every GM was. There were projections of where the cap was going. Now, was it going to be the growth that we've seen post-COVID in the last year or two? I don't think the projections were that. But he signed those players probably understanding that there would be some sort of cap growth. And while he was still there under Brendan Shanahan, the word is that he wanted to get out from under one of those contracts, and it was likely Mitch Marner. He wanted to trade Mitch Marner at some point. The up top, Brendan Shanahan and the powers that be at Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, they were the ones nixing the trade. So Dubas was handcuffed in that organization. He wasn't allowed to cook like he's allowed to cook here. And, Dubas, you can come out and say it, I think, without feeling too bad. The Jari contract and the Graves contract were mistakes in free agency, giving those guys those contracts. But what he's done is he has the free reign to work and try to get out from under them. Like he wasn't a part of the signings of, acquiring Jeff Petrie and Jan Ruda and Mikhail Granlund, but he turned those guys into Erik Karlsson.
Yeah.
And then, Ryan Graves is what it is. He's up and down. He's not playing. He's not even your eighth defenseman at this point, I don't think. He's spending time up practicing here. He's spending time in the American Hockey League. He's a disgruntled player right now, but that was a mistake Kyle Dubas made. And look, it's not hurting us right now. He's doing what he can to rectify it. Jari, talk about rectifying a decision there. He got the Edmonton Oilers and stinky Stan Bowman or whatever his name is. Which Bowman is it over there? It's Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
He got him to bite on Jari, and Jari just got pulled while the game was tied last night. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. Just fantastic work by Kyle Dubas. And as Penguins fans, I could understand a seething Toronto fan looking at us and just wanting to wish death upon us, but we're getting the best version of Kyle Dubas down here. That's, he's got free reins. He's a dog off the leash.
Well, I think it was important for him when discussing taking this job because, the Penguins, it kind of that year, that would have been 2023 now at this point. It was pretty clear that it felt like after Toronto was eliminated that he was staying in Toronto. It just kind of felt that way. It kind of got that vibe. They might even come out and said that he was staying or insinuated that. And the Penguins were really at that point dragging kind of the search out. It didn't feel like it was going anywhere. And then it felt like it was closing in on someone. And then all of a sudden, Kyle Dubas became available. And I think that's who it's still technically Fenway Sports Group would have. That is who they wanted the entire time. That was the waiting game. And when he became available, I think the only phone call that being made was to Kyle Dubas. And I think a part of the negotiations was giving him that president of hockey ops control. Because in Toronto, he was just a general manager, whereas Brendan Shanahan was the yeah. That went away. And FSG, for their credit, was mostly hands off in all this. They're listen, you got the keys, you go do what you want to do. And giving him that power to make the trades, hire the staff, build out the departments, and build the team that he wants while competing and building out the system as a whole. That is a huge part of why he took the job in Pittsburgh. And now you're really seeing why he was so highly thought of before he ever went to Toronto. Why what he did with the Marlies is kind of what you're seeing him now in he has the keys to the car.
Yeah.
And he's driving it to where he wants to go. He has the GPS, he has the keys. Like, we're riding his ship right now, and it has been fantastic.
It has been fantastic. We're getting the best version of Kyle Dubas, and he was in Sault Ste. Marie. He was with the Marlies. He really got his first licks in with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and things went how they went. And the Penguins are getting him. Like I said, he's got full autonomy of this squad, and it hasn't been perfect. We're not saying it's been perfect. It's hard to be perfect in the NHL,
Yeah.
You're working against 31 other teams that are actively working against you when it comes to making deals and acquiring players and prospects and whatnot. But he's doing a hell of a job now. And yeah, GM of the year, he's got to be up there for consideration. And I would also probably say that, you'd have to throw Dan Muse as one of his acquisitions in there too, as one of his highlights as the president of hockey ops for the Penguins. Like, there was talk of Mitch Love getting a look. Glad they didn't go down that road. There was, they were interviewing other coaches as well. I forget some of the bigger names that
Todd Nelson. And then they hired him.
And then they said, "Hey, would you mind taking a seat a little bit further down from Dan Muse?" And he said, "Sure."
You want to run a power play with Sidney Crosby on it? Sure.
Yeah, Dan Muse has been, if he doesn't get Coach of the Year consideration, depending on how this year fizzles out,
I just don't see how he's not at least a finalist. Like, the Coach of the Year should not go to a guy like Jared Bednar. I'm sorry, like, that's not the point of the award. Like,
or John Cooper, who's been to like 3 Stanley Cups, and
like they're like. Yeah, they're supposed to be good. Look at their teams. Like, that should be – you should be, like, a good coach because, like, you look at the players you have.
No, 100%.
Whereas Dan Muse, the expectations were like, hey, maybe we're bad enough to get a top 5 pick. And now it's like, maybe we can get home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Like,
yeah, we'll see. It's a bunch of crooked people running this whole charade anyways. I feel like rarely the people that deserve the limelight get it, but we'll see, man. As people who, as astute members of the media, Robbie, we watch this team. It's our job to watch this team, and we see what's going on here. And it's a lot of home runs. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he's been, again, after that first summer with Jari and Graves, it's just been home run after home run, and he's rectified the Jari situation better than I think anybody could have imagined. I mean, this is a guy they waived Tristan Jari last year twice, and now they have.
The Oilers thought that's the lateral move,
and then everything else since then has just been the Graves. We can lament the Graves deal, but like, he's playing decent hockey in the role they put him in when he's on the ice. Yeah. Like,
he's not the issue.
No, like, he's not being asked to be. Again, he's being paid too much for the role that he succeeds in, but he's still he's fine. Like, that is, again, from what he was last year, fine is more than good enough.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's fine is good enough for, especially with where the cap's at. There's a lot of things softening that blow. So, we'll see what they end up doing with Graves and whatever. But yeah, his other thing was Jari, and he got him off the books. So not a whole lot to really complain about right now in as a Pittsburgh fan.
Yeah, and I'm super excited. I'm was kind of really looking forward to this game. Like, as much as I loved the Olympic hockey, like, again, if the Penguins would have been awful, like, okay, I would have been like, okay, let's just finish out the season. But like, now I'm like, this is serious. Like, this is the first time since This is the first time since I've been doing the podcast with the Penguins. I started at the end of like the year that they 21, like the year that they got Jeff Carter, but then threw away that playoff series to the Islanders. But like, since then, like, this is my first, like, okay, this is a legit, like, after a couple really down years, like, I'm ready to get back into watching playoff hockey. Like,
well, they're poised, man. They're poised to, if they keep racking up the points here, like, let's just say, I don't know what their record needs to be for me to feel super comfortable, but if they keep clicking along the way that they have this season, I mean, they're poised not to just get into the playoffs. Like, like the couple years ago where they were, they needed to win out their last like 2 or 3 games to get into the playoffs. It's not going to, hopefully not be the case. It's going to be more of like, God, who are they playing? We're going to be scoreboard watching, not for them, but to see who they might be matching up against in the first round. And bring it on, man. Because I feel like since I've joined this podcast, it's been nothing but misses.
It has. I mean, it literally has been. Like, they've just been bad, like, the entire time. Like, that's just the situation they were in, and now here we are. I mean, we have 6 weeks left, basically, in this season, and they're sitting.
April 16th is the last regular season game, I believe.
Yeah, so even 7 weeks left in this season, really, 6.5, 7 weeks. We have a trade deadline on Friday, the 6th. A lot to happen this week. The Penguins this weekend have a back-to-back. They go to New York on Saturday to take on the Rangers, and then they're back home on Sunday to take on the Golden Knights in Pittsburgh. And then you got a busy – I think it's just busy. Like, there's no – like, I can't say it's a busy week. It's a busy month. They don't have 2 days off until, like I said, February or March 19th. They have a back-to-back this weekend, a back-to-back next weekend, actually 3 of the weekends in 3 of the 5 weekends in coming up are back-to-backs.
Back-to-backs, man. It's a lot of hockey.
They have a long road trip that sees them go out west to the desert and the Rockies. They have a lot of home games as well. There's a lot of again, it's a hard schedule, but there's a lot of opportunities on the table to prove yourself, keep stacking points, and hopefully by the time we're talking about the end of March, we are in we're not talking about making the playoffs. We're talking about who they're hosting or who they're playing in the playoffs, and if they can knock down that home ice.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a raucous ride, as they say, till the end here. But they got a few games this weekend. They're like early games.
They are.
I think out here it'll be like 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. or something like that, which I just don't like on a weekend. I don't like watching hockey with my breakfast, especially the Penguins, just because they typically, the old story with them in their early games. But it is what it is. They just got to go out there and win. The Rangers are a very beatable team. Vegas will be a challenge, but right now it's the Penguins. It's not the Penguins of old. This is a Penguins team that can hang with better teams, and it'll be interesting to see, man. Because after those 2 games, It's literally the week of the trade. There will be action.
Oh yeah. There's a lot to happen here in the next 8 days for the Penguins and the NHL. So it's going to be crazy. So we're gonna have plenty to talk about, obviously, and
we'll have to do like a trade deadline show.
Yeah, hopefully next Friday we can get something. I think the deadline's at like 4:00 Eastern, so that night maybe we can sit down.
Eastern.
3 p.m. So it's noon out your way. Sit down, get something done. But no, that's really all I got tonight. Snail.
That's all I got. Man.
The Penguins win 4-1 in their first game back from the long break. 4 different goal scorers tonight: Tommy Novak, Egor Chinikov, Connor Clifton, and Blake Lizotte. Artur Shilov's big game gets the start out of the break, get a big time performance from him. And now the Penguins have a back-to-back this weekend between the Rangers and the Golden Knights. So, yeah, a lot of hockey next month. This is just the start. Trade deadline on Friday.
We're just getting started this month.
We are just getting started. So if Snail has nothing else, I have nothing else. We will talk to you guys early next week to recap this weekend. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. You guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather wherever it is. Hopefully it's nice. Hopefully March is the sign of a much more tolerable forecast wherever you're at. So we'll talk to you guys early next week.